Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. Thank you so much for joining me. In this tutorial, we're going to make this very pretty dishcloth, swirl dishcloth. Now you can choose to use this as a face cloth instead, or you might want to use it as a hot pad, whatever you decide. And we're gonna make it together. I'm using number 7 needles and Loops and Threads classic cotton yarn in the color Burgundy. I'll have the yarn particulars down in the description box below the video. I want to tell you that my channel is mostly circular knitting on a machine, circular knitting machine, and I have some crochet and some loom knitting. I am venturing into the knitting and I am doing it in such a way that we are learning together. It is the handcraft that I know the least amount, but I want to learn with you. And I know the basics. I've done a little bit of knitting in the past, but I'm going to let this channel challenge me to grow in my skills and to learn along with you. So that's going to be fun. Thank you to the subscribers of my channel who always comment below my videos. And you know, if you want to correct me on anything, then I am happy to have you do that. Give me some tips and we will learn together. You will hear of one of those tips that was given to me in just a few minutes. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate having you as a part of my channel community. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Come on over and join my Facebook group. I appreciate you all. All right, friends, so I have my number 7 needles. I'm using a circular knitting needle with a cord here, but you don't have to. You can use straight needles if you like. I have this set. It's called Denise Interchangeable Knitting Needles. www.knitdenise.com. You can find it there, but I'll see if I can find it in Amazon as well for you and link that down in the description box below. I don't think it'll be there, but I'll check. I can't remember where I got this from, to be honest with you. I don't think I got it off this site, but I've had this for a long time and I'm just unsure of where I got it from, but I'm going to see if I can find it for you and I will link it in the description box below. All right, so we're going to take number 7 needles, whether you're using your circular needles or whether you're using straight needles, whatever you like. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to need to cast on 15 stitches. So to do that, we need to have a tail that's long enough to get through those 15. So I would say, I don't know, maybe 1.5 feet is good. And then we're going to put a slip knot on there. Now, all I do for my slip knot is you just put that loop over. So this top one is crossing over. Then you take that yarn and you put it on, I'll show you another way too. And you put it through the loop and you pull up and that's your slip knot. It's the same thing as going around your finger, then crossing it over, picking up that bottom one and taking that loop from the top and putting it through. We are then going to take that loop and put it onto our needle, taking the tail that we cut off, or the end tail here, and putting it closest to you and the yarn strand that's coming from your ball away from you. Now I'm going to say right off the hop here, because I always admit to my flub ups on my channel, because I'm not perfect at anything that I do, but I had this backwards. I had this posted for a minute and there were about 70 people who had already watched it, and one lady was kind enough to tell me, you're doing it backwards. This yarn strand has to be closest to you and this one needs to be away from you. So I sincerely thank you for telling me that. One thing I will say is that, as I've said already in the beginning of the video, I am fairly new knitter. I've knit a few things, not many, but a few things. And I know the basics, but I am learning along with you as we do this. And I'm happy to be doing that. So I'm going to take those 2 strands. I'm going to put them between my 3 fingers. We're going to take our index and our thumb. We're going to spread those apart to form a triangle. Then you're going to rotate your wrist so that your back of your wrist is against the table. Now we see all of these strands. I'm going to count this as 1, this is 2, and this one over here is 3. We're going to go underneath strand 1, over strand 2, over strand 3, and we're going to pick up strand 3 and bring it between 1 and 2. And we're going to pull that tail and tighten it onto our needle. And we're going to then do it again. We're going to pick up these 3, put our 2 fingers in, rotate, pick up 1, go over 2, go over 3, take 3 and bring it between 1 and 2. There we go. You know what? I don't know how come I did it wrong the last time, because this is more normal to me. And now that I'm doing it. And so now we're going to do it again. We're going to pick up the 3. We're going to put our finger in and our thumb. We're going to spread them out to look like a triangle. Tip your wrist over. Go under 1, over 2, over 3, grab 3, and bring it through. And then pull on that to tighten a bit. You don't want these too tight on your needle because they'll be too hard to get under. And we're going to do it again. 1, over, pick up. Over 1, over 2, pardon me, under 1, over 2, pick up 3, bring it through. Under 1, over 2, pick up 3, bring it through. Under 1, over 2, pick up 3, bring it through. We're going to do that for 15 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, and one more makes 15. We have 15 stitches on our needle, just like that. This is my long tail. I'm gonna cut that off so it's shorter and not getting in my way. And there we go. We have our cast on row of 15 stitches. All right, so what we're gonna do is I put my yarn in my right hand with my needle, and we're going to do the first row of knit stitches. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle from your right hand and you're going to put it underneath that first loop, going from the left to the right. I'm going to hold this tail. Or, you know, if you can't manage holding that tail for this first one, then you'll just pull it tighter later. But I'm going to go on the left side of that loop into it and cross under. Then I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to yarn over, then I'm going to take my needle in my right hand, I'm going to grab that yarn and I'm going to bring it through that loop and take that loop off my needle. Now first one's hard to see because of my tail that's in the way there. So I'll show you the next one. Under the loop, yarn around your right needle, then you're going to take your needle down, grabbing that strand and bringing it through the loop. Lift that loop off of your left needle. Now you have 2 loops on your right needle. Underneath, yarn over, bring it through, and knit off. All right, so we're going to go under the third one. Yarn over, bring it through, take it off, and we're going to do all 15 stitches. Now, if this is too fast for you, you can go up to the top of the right corner of your video and click on it, and a gear will come up and you can slow it down. But I'm imagining if you're doing this pattern with me, you know how to do a knit stitch. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to pull that down. And I'm not pulling my tension too tight as I do this. And in, yarn over, work it. Some people hold their yarn in their left hand. I can't do that. I've tried, I can't. And we're going to finish off. That's 14. One more makes 15. We have now knit our first row, which is knit 15 stitches. There we go. Now I also have this Susan Bates knitting counter. I found this in a secondhand store. If you follow my channel, you know I love to thrift shop. I just love the thrill of it. And I found this, and I know it's very old. But I'm going to count my rows when I finish them. So I'm on my first section of patterning. We're going to do 20 sections, or 8 sections of 20 rows. And here's my first row that's done. Again, it's always my practice to mark it after I finish it, not before I start it. Then we're going to switch our needles. We're going to put our worked needle into our left hand and our empty needle in our right hand. For row 2, we are going to knit 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to yarn over, so you're going to take your yarn, you're going to go between those 2 needles and around. We're adding a stitch, and we're going to put that onto our needle, then we're going to do another knit stitch. 1. You're going to just knit like normal. We're going to do 11 in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. You will have 1 stitch remaining on your left needle, just like that. We're going to now take our counter and we're going to mark row 2. So I have finished row 2. All right, so remember we started with 15 stitches, and then we did an increase in the last row. So now we have 16, but we're leaving one on that needle. We're going to turn our work, make sure your yarn tail is between the 2 and in the back, and we're going to knit off 15 stitches. So 1, so row 2 is knit off 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 15. And I have one more, and that's 15. Okay. Row 3 is completed. I'm going to mark that on my tally. Now we're going to move on to row 4. And for row 4, we're going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to yarn over, so in between and around, we just added a stitch, and we're going to knit 11. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll see you at 11. All right, so I knit off the 11, and that will give me 2 stitches left because I have 15 stitches on this side now, and we started off with 15 stitches. We've done 2 rounds with an increase, and we're going to leave those 2 stitches on the left needle, and then we are going to turn our work. All right, we're going to place our yarn tail in the back, and for, oops, let me mark row 4 because it's so easy to forget. We're going to knit all of our stitches in row 5. So knit 15 stitches. So once you get this patterning, you can make these really fast. So knit all 15 stitches. This is row 5. There we go. I've knit all 15 stitches. I'm going to mark my counter. Now for row 6, we're going to do the same thing that we did for row 2 and row 4, and we're going to have 3 loops left. So you're going to turn. We're going to knit 3. Then we're going to yarn over. So we're doing another increase, and we're going to knit 11. There will be 3 stitches left on your needle when you are done. I'll meet you when you get there. All right, friends, I have my 3 loops left on my left needle. I'm going to turn my work, pop that into the back. We're going to knit 15. Now, after this row, we're going to start a new set of patterning. So finish your 15 knits and come back and see me. This is row 7. All right, this is what it's looking like. So far you have completed 7 rows. Now we're going to begin row 8. And to begin row 8, we're going to do a bind off 3, but we have to set that up. So we're going to knit 2. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to take this loop over this loop. So you're going to take your needle, you're going to put it into the first stitch just to pick it up. Then you're going to slide this up and you're going to very carefully slide that loop over the first loop. And see, I have over the second loop. I have that second loop at the tip, and I'm going to pull that on to my needle and then slide it off. I just did 1 bind off. Now I'm going to knit 1 more. So I have 2 loops on my needle. I'm going to take my hook. I'm going to go under the second one. And we have to pull it over the first one. And then pull that first one through. Just like that. And then take it off. Now we're going to do our third. So we have to knit another one. So we have 2 loops on our needle. We're going to take our hook of our needle, the tip of our needle, go under that second one. You're going to bring it up. And you're going to put it over the tip of that needle where that second one that you had done stays on the needle, and you're going to slide that off, and we've done 3 bind offs. Okay, and now we're going to knit 2, 1 and 2. We're going to yarn over just like this. Remember, we're going to do our increase now. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to knit 8. 1, that will leave 4 stitches on our left needle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just make sure, and 8. There we go. I have 4 needles left on my left, or 4 stitches left on my left needle. I'm going to go ahead and mark off row 8 on my counter. And for row 9, take your yarn, place it to the back. We're going to knit off all 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There should be 12. We're going to knit them all off with a knit stitch. 1, this is row 9. 2, 11 and 12. There we go. I'm going to mark off row 9 on my knitting counter. This is what it's looking like so far. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stitches on your needle. Now for row 10, bring that down and to the back. We're going to knit 3, one, 2, and 3. Then you're going to yarn over, so in between and around we're adding a stitch, and then we're going to knit 8. Oops, I want to keep that in line there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that should leave us with 5 stitches remaining on our left needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm going to mark off row 10. For row 11, we're going to just turn our work, take our yarn in behind for a knit stitch, and we're going to knit 12 stitches. I'll see you when you get to the end. Knit all 12 stitches. This is what it's looking like so far. You should have 17 loops on your needle. All right, so now we're going to move on to row 12. We're going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to yarn over, so in between and around, and we're going to knit 8. 1, and you'll have 6 stitches left on your hook. Why do I keep calling it a hook? I'm so sorry. On your needle, because I just finished a crochet project. That's why. So 2, 3, 4, and when you are finished row 12, you will have 6 loops left on your left needle. Okay, so now we're going to mark our little counter. I have 12 rows done. Row 13, knit off all 12 stitches. And 12. There we go. I'll show you what it's looking like. You can see our first section taking really nice shape there. Finished row 13. Now for row 14, we're going to bring our yarn down and to the back. We're going to bind off 3. So to do that, you have to first get 2 needles or 2 loops on your right needle. So we're going to knit 2. Then we're going to put our hook of our needle right into that bottom one and bring it over the top one. Just like that, keeping that top one on your needle, pull it off. Now we're going to knit another one. We're going to bind off our second stitch. Get the little tip of your needle under there and bind that one off, and then we're going to knit another one, and we're going to bind off that one. So we have done 3 bind off stitches. Now we are going to knit 2, 1 and 2. That one's a little tight. We're going to yarn over, just like that. we're going to knit 5. You should have 7 stitches left on your left needle. 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. I'm going to mark that. For row 15, you're going to just knit all 9 stitches. Take your yarn to the tail to the back, knit off all 9 stitches. And 9. Mark off row 15 being done. Now let's move on to row 16. Look how pretty that's coming along. All right, so for row 16, we are going to knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to yarn over, so in between, bring it around, and you're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more is 5. You should have 8 stitches left on your left needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mark off row 16 as being done. Row 17, we're going to knit all 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3. I'll see you when you get to 9. Friends, now you have completed 17 rows of our 20 row patterning. It's looking great. And this next row, row 18, we're going to knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to yarn over and we're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more is 5. That should leave you with 9 loops left on your needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's mark off row 18. Row 19, knit all 9 stitches. 1, 2, I'll see you at 9. All right, there you go. Now we're on our last row. All right, so for row 20, we're gonna bind off 3. So we need to knit 2, then we're going to take the bottom loop over the top, and then we're going to knit another one. Take the bottom loop over the top, and knit one more. We're doing 3 bind offs, just as we've done before. There we go. We're going to knit 14. So there's 14 stitches left on your needle. Knit all 14. So there you go, my friends. We just finished 20 rows of patterning, giving us our first section. You're going to do those 20 rows 7 more times. Don't be overwhelmed. It won't take you that long. Once you have done the first couple of sections, you're going to be able to whip through the last 5 with or 6 with no problem. You're gonna have a total of 8 sections that are like this. And as you make them, they're going to come around, and then we're going to sew up our seam and make it into a circle. But I'm gonna finish this up until I've got 4 sections done, and then I'll come back and show you where I'm at. All right, have fun, and I'll see you in just a little bit. All right, friends, there you go. I have section 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see where half of my circle is done. I'm gonna continue, and I'm gonna do another 4 sections, and we're gonna have a beautiful dishcloth. I love this pattern. I think it's so pretty. And this detailing here from doing our bind off stitches looks so pretty. I just love it. All right, keep going. I hope it's going well for you, and I'll see you when you get to the end. There we go, all 8 sections done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's looking beautiful. So now what we want to do is we want to bind off our last row here, and we want to tighten our circle, and we want to sew up the side. We'll tighten the circle last, actually. We'll bind off, we'll sew up the side, then we'll tighten the circle. All right, so let's take our piece, and we are going to bind off the same way that we have been doing, so it won't be hard for you to do. We're going to set it up by knitting 2. One and 2. Then we're going to bring this bottom one over the top one, picking it up, bringing it up and over the top one and over the tip of your needle. Then we're going to knit the next one. And we're going to grab the bottom one, bringing it up over the top one and over the tip of the needle, keeping that top one on your needle, just like what we've been doing. And we're going to do that all the way down the row. And here we go, just finishing up the last 2. And one more. Taking that bottom over the top, and there we go. I'm gonna pull my needle out there. Be very careful, you don't want to pull that loop down. You're gonna cut your yarn. You want a length about as 3 or 4 times the length from here to here, okay? A good length. 3 times is enough, actually. We're gonna cut that off. I'm going to pull it through this loop. Oops. There we go, I split the yarn there. And then I'm going to pull it tight. And I've got a good knot on there. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my needle, and we're going to sew up the side here. All right, so we're going to take that yarn. We've got our cloth. This is the wrong side, because you can tell by the edging here which one is the right, which is the wrong side. We're going to put the right side down. We're going to take our yarn, and we're going to go over to this corner over here, and we're going to join the 2. Just like that, right at the base of those 2 peaks. Now from there, we're going to fold this in half, right sides are together. We're going to look for what looks like a V-stitch. Now this really is the edging right here, but you can turn it just a half a stitch if you like, and you can see where these V-stitches are right here. We're going to work into there. You can work into those ones if it's easier for you. I'm going to work into the back of them, but if you're doing this for the first time, you might want to just give it a little bit of a turn and work into these stitches here, because you can see them a little bit easier. But again, I'm going to just work into the back here, and I'm going to go in to that first stitch. I'm going to go under the next stitch. It's hard to get into that first one, and into the 3rd stitch down. So I've missed a stitch, and I'm going to pull through. We're doing the invisible join the best that we can here. We're going to go up to where our yarn is coming out here. We're going to go into there. I'm going to miss a stitch and come up the center of the second stitch down. Pull through. This is the invisible join. Now we can only go a small section and then have to pull it tight. If you're using acrylic yarn, you can go quite a long section and then pull it, but with cotton, it doesn't have any stretch in it. It will break on you. So we're going to go in where we came out, miss a stitch, and go in through the center of that second stitch. We're going to do one more on this side. In where I came out, miss a stitch, and come up into 2 stitches down. Then I'm going to hold this point here, and I'm going to pull this tail. You can only do most 3 stitches before you have to pull this tight, again, because cotton doesn't have any stretch and it'll break when you're pulling it. Okay, so here's where I came out right here. I'm going to go in, I'm going to miss a stitch, come up the center of 2 stitches down. Pull through. There's many ways you can sew this up. You can do a basic just seam back and forth, going under a stitch and pull through, then come on this side, go under a stitch from the base underneath side and come up under this one, and then go back under and up and rotate from each stitch if you like. Or again, you can do it the same way I'm doing it. I'm going to pull through, and then I'm going to go into the same stitch I came out of, miss a stitch, and come through the center of the next stitch down. I'm going to hold where I last tightened, and then I'm going to pull, and now I've tightened that, okay, that section. I'm going to go in here where I came out. It's harder to find your stitch where you came out of once you've tightened, but just take a close look and you'll be able to see it. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do one more on this side. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in, miss a stitch, come through the center of the one right after. Then I'm going to pinch where I last tightened and gently pull. Now this is seaming it together in an invisible join. You can't even tell that there's a seam there, okay? And we're gonna go just a little bit further till we get down. I think I only have one more to do. In there, oops, I snagged something. I'm gonna pull that one tight and then come into this one. Pull that tight, and I'm gonna just take a look where I'm at. No, I can do one more. I'm only going to pick up one here, so I'm not going to miss one. I'm just going to pick up the last stitch, pull through, take a look, and that's good enough. We've got our invisible join done. You can't even tell it's there. Now I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to just go along the top edge. You can see the loops there actually. If I fold this differently for you, you can see this loop. The darker color, you might not be able to see it in the camera very much, but you just pick up that top loop the best that you can to get under it, and then you pick up the next one, bring that through. These are metal wool needles. I'll link them in the description box below. They come in 3 different sizes. They're my favorite needle. They have a nice wide loop that you can put your yarn through. And I'm going to pick up the next and the next. And we're going to pull. And then I'm going to do the second half in there and in there. So pull tight the first half and then continue around. You can easily see it. Right there. And let's pick up this one. Give that a nice pull. And we've tightened our center. I'm going to join it to this first one that I did. And there we go. Now I can knot it off. That's one. Push that knot down with your thumb. Do one more. And now we'll hide our ends. So all I'm going to do is going to weave in by picking up the loops here. what will help you is to now cut this shorter, because we have a little bit of a frayed end on that end that I had, and so that's what was making it hard to get through. And I'm going to go back the other direction. Pulling through. See, that was much easier. And then I'm going to do one more. Just weave it through a few stitches. Bring it through and cut it off. And there you go. That's the back side. I'm going to spin it. Now can you tell which side we sewed? You can right there. Okay, but it's it's not very obvious. Okay, now we're going to take this tail here and we're going to hide it. So I'm just going to go between some of the stitches here with my needle, and I'm going to thread it. Pull it through, and then I'll go back the other way and we'll be done. So there you go, friends. We've got our beautiful Swirls dishcloth. I got this pattern from a magazine that is about, let me just in my head, almost 20 years old. I hope you've enjoyed it. And they make many of them. There's the back side. There's our seam right there. And here's our seam right here. You can see it a little bit, but once you have this wet and in the water and all used, you're never going to see that. There you go, friends. We have completed a dishcloth. Again, we were using Loops and Threads classic cotton yarn in the colorway called Burgundy, and I love this color. It's very rich looking and very beautiful. So you grab your favorite color of yarn. A variegated would be very nice in this dishcloth as well. And once you're finished making one, please show me in my Facebook group. I'd love to see, and I'm sure everyone else in the group would as well. Come on over and join us if you're not a part of that group. I'll have the link down in the description box below. All right, friends, thanks for spending this time with me. Take care and have a blessed day.